We will call for roll call, please.
Director Coverdale?
Yes, here.
Director Feldman?
Here.
Director Reynolds? Vice President Michelson?
Here.
President Muller?
Here. We have a quorum sitting in, and I believe our board member is not feeling well. That's proper. Okay, no other information. Legal team with our board member being absent. Okay, this time we will move on to Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I want to thank James Durbin for the great effort on the Eagle.
Yeah.
We used to be stuck in asbestos, which I don't think is that healthy. No, thank you, James.
You're welcome. I'll tell the crew thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I might comment in our roll call. We have a legal counsel this evening sitting in for us. So welcome, Brendan Adams.
Thank you.
And we appreciate you taking the time to come over here and guide us through the meeting. Of course. So moving on with public comment, item 3 on the agenda. I have no cards at this time for public comment. So it will be a last call for public comment. If not, we will move on to the consent calendar. And if I may briefly state, I did review the monthly financial claims, and everything seems to be very appropriate and in order. But I want our wonderful customers to know that as chair of this board and district, I probably signed, James can help me, the biggest check I've ever signed as a little old farmer in Half Bay. And I want the customer base to know that it takes a lot of money to run our infrastructure in this wonderful district. So we did our very best there, but we thank you for that. And I will go ahead and ask for motion on the consent calendar unless there's any other comments on the consent calendar.
So moved.
I'll second that. It's moved and second. Any further discussion? If not, roll call vote, please.
Director Coverdale?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds? Yeah. Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
President Muller?
Yeah. Okay, we will move on to let's see, item 5, I believe it is. Any meetings attended and director's comments, please. And before we start that, I want to really, I'm sorry I missed it earlier on, but I can't thank this board and staff for covering for me when I was under the weather. Thank you, all of you, for stepping up in subcommittee meetings and aqua briefings. And so I appreciate all of your work to cover for your chair while he was laying on the couch, not feeling well, eating Cheerios instead of good food. So we will move on from that to any other meetings attended. I did have a Region 5 meeting that I'll call on you for a moment recently, and there were just a few of us on a Zoom meeting. And but they're all very excited. Region 5 will be meeting here in Half Moon Bay in July. And Lisa, thank you for the work put together. And I'm sure you're all welcome to stop by and come in on that meeting. It'll be here at the library.
It'll be the library.
Thank you. Yeah, no, they're really excited. And then I happen to make a remark that these Valley folks are very excited to come to our air conditioner. I said, we'll have it on for you guys without. So that'll be my comments right now. And I'd like to ask our board for any further comments on their meetings attended and other comments.
Will there be some statement from APRA about that? They put it out in their newsletters normally. Yeah. Just so we know the date and what it is.
It's July 21st.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's Friday.
Okay, so you'll maybe.
Yeah, I'll send you.
I appreciate it, just so we know.
Okay.
July 21.
here.
That's good. That's cool. Good. Yeah.
And then any comments for recent meetings attended? Yes.
Well, speaking of Aqua,
Yeah.
a number of us actually spent a little time there. Myself, Chris, and Glenn went down along with Mary, and attended the Aqua conference. My general take was, I don't know, the other opinions wasn't quite as I don't know what the word is.
Informative.
Not as it usually is. It didn't seem as full of information. I don't know what you guys thought. It seemed abbreviated in some ways. So that was just an overall impression. And maybe they're just getting back into gear because of the virus, etc. But we did learn, though, I think the major topics were really the drought itself and the fact that it's receding. And most people were pretty positive about the fact that business could start to be done as usual, and hopefully availability of water would now be able to let people get back to more regular use and more productive use of water, and be able to actually help reinfuse some of the district's budgets and revenue, because it's been a real issue for many. And that was the other thing you understand. A lot of people were really sorely touched by this process over the last 2-3 years. The other thing was the fact that there is legislation underway here in the state regarding water rights. I don't want to get into a bit of details, but I can say my sense of thing is that this could be a real issue for many of the agencies in California, including us, because it would touch on one of our major long-term hopes is the San Vicente watershed and our use of it based on our water right position at this point. ACWA's taken a strong position against the legislation, as have most of the membership. And we're all working very hard to try and diffuse this, but it's not clear yet, at least not to me, maybe to others, what the result is going to be. And we're just keeping our eye on it, make sure we stay on top of it and put our 2 cents, 4 cents, or whatever it is, pot of gold into it to keep them aware of our position, because it could be a real issue for us. And we know it's going to be an issue for many, 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 many others. So we want the public to be aware that this is ongoing, that we're on top of it, and we're going to do our very best to make sure that we're ahead of this and can keep our interest whole going forward for the community and for the state in general, for the water users here.
Okay.
That was really my opinion.
Very good. Thank you. Any other? I know there was some subcommittee meetings also. Go ahead, Vice Chair.
Yeah, no, Bob did touch on the high points, and certainly there was a lot of concern about the pending legislation. I have not heard an update though.
It did get out of, the bills did get out of the assembly.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not the update that I wanted to give.
They're going to the other houses.
Yeah. So more writing on the wall is they probably will pass. So the water will be reallocated in the state of California. Curtailment will become permanently in the hands of the governor, and it'll be interesting going forward from here. And it will ripple into each and every water district in the state of California. But I mean, no one is getting a free pass. So we shall see how this plays out. Thanks.
Good.
And given that, I expect we hope staff would keep us informed on a regular basis in any way you can at the meetings, and tell us what the latest statuses of all of the process here, so we can have some insight to the timing for when things might trickle down, as it were, to in some form. Thank you.
Good. Thank you. And we'll keep our eye on that very closely, and I'm sure legal staff will be watching that closely too. So very good. Any other meetings held recently? If not, we will continue to move on here and go on to our general business agenda, item 6. I believe it's 6. Yes. And our first item will be Mary. James, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
defer to James.
Yep.
Good evening. As you know, there's still some production delays and difficulties with getting trucks, especially F-250 trucks. We've decided, or the staff's kind of convinced me, that we could use a 4-wheel drive F-250 to safer pulling of the emergency pump for the Pillarcitos. Our F-150s can pull it. It's just safer if you got a heavier truck with 4-wheel drive. So we're looking at buying a 4x4 crew cab F-250. There are very few available right now. We can't order trucks from Ford because we're a government agency, and the fleet pricing, they say it exists, but it fell apart on us last time, and we ended up with go out to buy Ranger. So we're asking you waive the procedural requirements for sealed competitive bids and authorize the general manager to procure an F-250 diesel 4x4 crew cab truck for not to exceed amount of $80,000. The reason we're asking for a budget of 80 is there was a couple of trucks locally. One is gone, and I think there's one still in Redwood City. It's going to be $70,000 out the door. In case it's not there tomorrow or the next day, we want to be able to shop around a little bit. Darren and I went on a bunch of websites today, and most dealerships are asking $10,000 more than MSRP for Redwood City. So we're asking for you guys to authorize the purchase and waive the sealed competitive bids due to the procurement issues that we've been experiencing.
I got a comment for you.
Yes, sir. Board member.
We've purchased 5 trucks in the last year, all comparable to what you're buying, and they all cost more money than what you're requesting. So I think the request is more than reasonable. You know, I worry a little bit about you buy diesel or gas, because in 10 years, diesel party's over. But I still bought diesel. So I would encourage us to waive the procedural requirements for sealed competitive bids and authorize the general manager to procure a new F-250 diesel 4x4 crew cab for a not to exceed amount of $80,000.
Are you making that a motion?
Yeah, that was exactly.
Okay. Thank you. We have a motion on this item and a second, please.
I'll second.
And further discussion.
What trim levels you're looking at?
It's going to be XL with the tow package and electric windows.
Yeah,
It's real standard to what we get in the F-150.
Yeah, no, like Ken's saying, you're gonna be hard pressed to get up for 80. I mean, it's
Yeah, I've seen a lot well over 80.
I saw one recently for 140.
5.2.
I was asking for one now.
I know, but
that's a net.
So a brief comment in the discussion, I think, as you mentioned earlier about the tow capacity, but after the recent storms we've had, those type of power vehicles are very important for emergency control for the district too. So fully supported. If there's no further discussion on this agenda item, I will call for the roll call vote, please.
Director Coverdale?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds is absent. Vice President Michelson?
Yeah.
President Muller?
Yes, so ordered, and thank you, staff, for putting together a good package, because I always had to believe that it doesn't cost, it pays when you get the proper equipment to work. So,
thank you. We appreciate it.
Good job. Thank you. And now we will move on to our next item on professional service with the EKI firm. And I've signed a few checks with that firm too.
Yeah.
I'm gonna let James take it since he's already up.
Thanks, Mary. I appreciate that. So as you know, we had some issues over the New Year storms. This is for design work of the non-emergency FEMA application that we're separating for that very reason, to be more to be eligible for the FEMA application. So this is, we're calling it phase 1. We're going to bid it out together with the emergency work, but we just have to keep the 2 pots of money separate. So essentially, this is the crossing from the south end of this by Pastorinos and Lenebia Winery. We're going to have to drill under this creek, Los Troncos. We have an exposed pipeline at the bottom of this creek here. I think you guys have seen it when you went on the walking tour. So it's in jeopardy. It's not getting any better, and the storms didn't help. So what we want to do is drill under the creek and reconnect to the welded steel pipe out there on Pastorino's property. EKI has already designed this stretch. This is where we went around Lenebia about 5 years ago. We're going to pick it up from here and go down to Sun Studios. So there's a little bit of a design change there. And I think initially we were going to come out here. We're now going to come out here. This is the start of the emergency work. So a lot of this is the 2,500 feet is not part of the design, but the creek crossing, it's expensive to engineer that. And this also includes property acquisition support, engineering bid support, and engineering during construction. So we're asking for approval for $127,000 for this design. It's a fast track because we want to keep track of this emergency work and bid it together. They're going to do 90% right to final, and they're working very hard on it. And it's as you can see with all the properties and the APNs and whatnot out there, it's not a real easy just go down the road and replace a pipe. So anything else you want to add, Mary?
We are already working on easement acquisition, and with OPC, who you approved a couple months ago. But we would like to do this kind of pretty much all at once, or within at least bidding it out together and doing so.
And part of the approach is we're going to bid it out as one package and give them time constraints because we don't want them in Cosmo Hills property during Christmas or Halloween pumpkin season. So we're going to bid out as one package and say you got these windows of time to work out there. So we're working nicely with the property owners, and they've been really cooperative.
Nice to hear. So thank you.
I will add, just as a side note, I mean, we're not talking about the emergency portion, but our application is in with FEMA on the emergency portion. So I had a meeting, I had a call today. We don't know, but we just have to keep, thinking that there might be possibilities for funding.
I buy lottery tickets too.
Okay.
I think the most exciting part about this whole project is the fact that we are not proposing to do work in the Highway 92 right of way.
Yeah.
So if you want to imagine how to really make the coastal community excited after the washout of 92 at the top and all the trees that have fallen and all the drama that we've had, go ahead and shut down 92.
Oh my God.
And try to place a pipeline in our right of way. So to me, it's wonderful news that all the people along there are cooperating at whatever level. Because if the community doesn't realize what we're saving them, we need to let them know. Because I don't know, I have to drive over 92 and it's still kind of a maybe, And so it's, I just think it's wonderful. It's horrible that we have these issues, but it's wonderful in that we'll be able to build these things without really shutting down people's ability to get to work. So I think it's a wonderful thing. I'm so excited about it.
We are too. And we're getting away from the high pressure gas main.
Yeah.
Right in the same alignment.
Oh my God. It's just
traffic on one side, high pressure gas on the other. I've heard all kinds of horror stories about working off 92.
One big nightmare.
Dangerous for traffic.
Well, and I believe those are well-spoken words, Director Coverdell, and I believe the district always works really hard to be the less of the issues when we're working on our pipes and ditches and floods and things like that. So thank you for that. And at this time, I would call for a motion, please, on this agenda item. And it would be to authorize.
I'd be happy to make them. I'd like to authorize the general manager to retain the professional services of EKI Environment and Water, Inc. for engineering services for the Highway 92 bottled water pipeline phase 1 project for a not to exceed budget of $127,900. I want to make sure they get the $900. All right.
Thank you.
I want to make sure that's in.
And I'll second that. Been moved and second. Any further discussion? As we've said, staff has done a wonderful job with our engineering firm to ensure we put it in the best place possible, and also the less disruption with the property owners. So thank you all for that. And I'll call for a roll call vote, please.
Director Coverdell?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds is absent. Vice President Michelson.
Yes.
President Mueller.
Yes, so approved, and we will move on to the next one here. That's
Thank you.
good job.
Thank you.
And we will move on to this one here. And Barry, I believe you will be commenting on this agenda item, please.
Okay. So as the water retailer for the city of Half Moon Bay and El Dorado and unincorporated parts of San Mateo County, the district really is committed to pursuing a resilient and sustainable water supply, which includes evaluating options for alternative supplies such as water reuse. So as you're aware, the district and other stakeholder agencies on the coast have considered water reuse possibilities over the last 25 to 30 years. But particularly over the last 10 years, there have been a lot of new technological developments and new changes, changes in in regulations in the world of water reuse. The district is really interested in taking a fresh look at what alternatives now or soon will be feasible for our coastal community. And then in addition, the state of California and the federal government have opened up a new window of opportunity for support and funding. So this is a good time to be thinking about, what we could do with water reuse, and perhaps maybe there's funding out there. So the district sought and received proposals from 3 firms for a water reuse feasibility study. And the Water Reuse Committee spent 3 full mornings interviewing the 3 firms. And I'll say all these firms were great and very well qualified. So this was, I think it was, it was a difficult choice for us as we were, looking at these 3 firms. Staff recommends that we move forward with working with Waterworks Engineers, LLC. Waterworks is a regional firm. They have offices here in, actually they have an office in San Mateo, but they have offices in California and Arizona and Washington, I think Idaho. They're quite big in Arizona with city of Scottsdale in being, kind of pioneering new technologies with for water reuse and direct and indirect potable reuse. And so they and some of the projects they've worked on in California actually have included West Bay Sanitary District's facility at Sharon Heights Golf Course. And Waterworks actually was the design engineer on the design build for that facility. So they have lots of great credentials. How their approach to this feasibility study is really from a technical approach. They're going to be, spending time evaluating the hydrogeology of the region, the regulatory and permitting and economic, feasibility of projects. As the study gets underway, we'll be reaching out to our to other, to stakeholders in the community, including ZAM and the city of Half Moon Bay. And as you recall, the city of Half Moon Bay actually, the city council sent us a letter back in this past August, noting, their support for us for pursuing the water reuse. So we're also in conversations with the State Water Resources Control Board for a grant for this feasibility study. So we could get up to 50% reimbursement, for this study. So we've been assigned a project manager with the state, so I'm working with her right now. So you want to add, and I invite. Yeah.
I will give Director Coverdell couple minutes here to respond because we really did visit with all these firms at a great length. And I think we're comfortable with moving forward this decision for all of us on the Coastside. And kind of ironic, I just drove by the treatment plant as I was coming home from the doctor this afternoon. I was tempted to pull in there, but I figured I better not be nosy. I think in the future, we will be looking at visiting some sites for board members to kind of review what the future holds. And as we all know, with the world of global warming and water and all that, this is probably, if we can all live that long to see this completed, it'll be a privilege. So I think I would go ahead and ask for the motion, or I will go ahead and I believe I can do that, right? Legal counsel, make your ride over here worthwhile. I can make a motion. Thank you. So I will move to approve the professional service agreement with Waterworks Engineer LLC Waterworks for a water reuse feasibility study not to exceed budget of $299,977. So move.
I'll second it.
Been moved in second. Any further discussion? Any board members?
Do you want discussion? I'd be happy to talk about it.
No, I'm gonna, defer to board members to my left and right, and I'm sure they chose the best firm, and
right,
we can move forward with
I want to commend the committee for its effort to help us move toward our long-term objectives, are part of our strategic plan, actually. Yeah. And I'm glad to see that we're still focused on that plan and trying to do something long-term, as we say. And they've done a great job, yeoman job, and they'll be commended for their efforts because it took a lot of effort to do this. So I just wanted to thank them for the hard work.
You're welcome. And
I read the proposal, and I think this sounds like a great film.
Coming from a engineer board member, that's a good one to hear. We get a little support there.
Go for it.
And I'll go ahead and call for a roll call vote, please. If there's no further discussion.
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds is absent. Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
President Muller?
Yes, so approved. And it's unfortunate that our fellow board member is not well tonight, because I'm sure we would have had some very positive input on this issue also. So thank you for that item, and we will see our raises. What? I don't see our raises. Yeah, okay. No comments here. So we will move on to the big one here. And I think this is where our customer base has to understand we are a real business here. This is not just a family deal. This is a business that, as we all know, the cost of doing business and the fairness of doing business is very important on this next item agenda. So we will move on there for the page.
Okay. So CalPERS requires board approval for the salary schedule. And generally in June, we approve the salary schedule, understanding what the cost of living increases. It's, this year it's 4.9%. Our MOU with Teamsters has a annual COLA increase included. And so the salary schedule includes the 4.1% increase. So I'm asking the board to approve the salary schedule.
I move we approve the salary schedule with the cost of living adjustment for fiscal year 2023-24, effective July 1, 2023.
I'll second that. So it's been moved and seconded as further discussion on these situations. This is a highly regulated item on the agenda tonight, and we want to make sure we make the right decisions. And just a little brief comment, when you have good staff, we have to ensure that we continue to be fair and also fair from the staff's viewpoint too. So I would go ahead and call for the roll call vote, please.
Director Coverdale?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds is absent. Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
President Muller?
Yes, so ordered. Thank you. And now we go back up on the hill there.
Okay.
Hey, James, we're gonna ask you.
No, it's
This one here.
Budget.
our budget.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. Sorry, James. I'm putting too much of that.
I actually
Working me away.
printed this out.
Oh, I will take one.
You need one. Better be sure we got it right.
Yeah.
Okay. So
If we spelled county wrong.
Yeah, right. It was the back. So it does. That's why I didn't have it in my book.
So prior to the beginning of the new fiscal year, we asked the board to approve the operations and maintenance budget for the next fiscal year and the new 10-year capital improvement program. So we introduced these budgets at the May board meeting. And so we are I'm going to bring up the information again. We've done just minor tweaking, but they're really not having material changes in our budget. The revenue budget, reflects the lower sales of 506 million gallons, up from where we are going to land in June. We're going to be likely between 465 and 470 million gallons, which is, given the drought. And just as we brought up we showed this slide last month as well, but you can see we're seeing that, we're way down from over the last, 10 plus years. So this is has been a significant impact for us.
200 million gallons.
Yeah, but in terms of, we're forecasting some recovery up to 506 million gallons, in trying to be conservative. We're now that our ordinance is not, is no longer in effect. We hope to see a little bit more water sales in the future. So basically in terms of, we're very close to even, with our budget from last year, within 1%, but part of that is we do have a 6% increase that was approved in December 2022 that will be effective in January. So with that, the operating, we did have in non-operating revenue an increase primarily due to additional county property taxes and ERAPs. So, and operating expenses, I think we were conservative. Overall, you see an increase of 4%. And this includes, by the way, a 9.6% increase in SFPUC water costs. So they had their cost increase. We're hoping that we're planning on using more of our local sources, given the heavy rains from, this winter. We did have the Boscabon surcharge. We had a savings, so that has helped the bottom line as well.
Nice.
So so overall, we're in the contribution to our CIP and reserves were 300,000 less than what we had last year. So, any questions with the operating budget?
Oh, that's great.
Okay. The other, the other piece, which we again went over last month, is the CIP. And so we did a little bit of massaging here from last month. So I think last month we showed more of a $4 million difference, but now we got the 3 million. We had to do just a bit of an adjustment to move we have a project that will likely be with the El Granada Peg 1 project that we're moving up. And so we're juggling a few things around. But, basically, the big things are, the differences we have, the difference from 10 years from what our viewpoint of 10 years for last year is that we have, you see 5 million in pipeline projects, which basically includes, we had some carryover projects and we added a $2.5 million placeholder at the end of, fiscal year 33. So, but we're offset really by, we're going to be finishing up our Nunes water treatment plant improvement project. It was a $9 million project that we started in fiscal year 2022. And so that project is basically done. So, in the 10-year view, you'll see the savings. Anyway, any questions? So and I will say that we had multiple meetings, both with the facilities committee and the finance committee. Even as of last Tuesday, we had a finance committee meeting and discussed the impact on our financial of these budgets on our financial models. So I think we're agreed that we're in good shape, even with these numbers.
I think it's amazing, given the lack of sales of water. I mean, we couldn't really be better. It'd be nice to sell water. We're in the water business.
That'll be coming up in the agenda item coming up pretty quick here.
Our
wash your cars.
Yeah, make water and sell it.
Well, we've benefited. I mean, be realistic here again. The community has stepped up to the line and worked with us, followed our recommendations and our ordinances and done their best, and they did a good job for it. We have a lot less water use this year, and we know it, and we appreciate that the public worked with us to make this happen. On the plus side, we managed with the reserves we had to cover that and to be able to continue to do the work we need to do to make the community and the water system whole going forward into the future, including the Nunes plan, which is a $9 million ticket. We did our best with expense control. We did a very good job with expense control. Our expenses were considerably less than had been budgeted. And that's due to the work and the efforts of staff and the general manager and all the people who made every effort to do the best they could to keep control of expenses. So we came out, thank goodness, whole. And the budget looks to be what it has to be to let us go forward. We've added and been conservative in our water use, but we hope that we exceed that estimate because we're going to be able later in this program to tell people that things can go back and we can get going again with water, and we're going to want you to help, do the things that you've been not able to do for a long time. And so with that, I just have to say that a lot of work has been done. It's been a positive effort, and thankfully and hopefully we'll be able to move forward and continue along the lines we've established to thank you the work we have to do with the help of the community. And we hadn't had to do anything with the increase. It's the same increase that we planned on 2 years ago, in spite of all the things that were going on, and we've kept our word. We've made it clear to the public that we can be counted on to do what we have committed to do and make sure that they're held whole in this process.
Well said, Board Member Cultman, because we've all been reading and hearing on the news media in the Bay Area the increase in water rates with other areas around us here, and the big boys and girls out there. But yeah, you look at Marin and San Jose and Santa Clara, we're really very low in the increased future. So thank you for that, and thank you for our wonderful financial staff and committee for getting us through this. And again, we've done our very best, and I'm sure our customer base understands, again, the cost of doing business, no matter what business you're in. And I always kind of looked at this over the years it's sort of like farming. If you don't have a crop to sell, you're not going to have too good a business year. So we didn't have a crop of water to sell, so we could compare that. But in the meantime, we'll go ahead and ask for a motion on this item, please.
Is there a motion necessary?
Yes.
Okay, I'll make a motion. Approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 operations and maintenance budget and fiscal year 2023-2024 to fiscal year 2032-2033 capital improvement program.
Second.
Moved and second. Any further discussion, board members? No. If not, we will call for the roll call, please.
Director Coverdale?
Yes.
Director Feldman?
Yes.
Director Reynolds is absent. Vice President Michelson?
Yes.
President Mueller?
Yes, so ordered. Congratulations to our financial experts. And Mary, thank you for carrying us through on this challenging times. Okay, now we'll get right on the agenda item here with the investment we're making for future for Coastside County Water District, which, as I said, I signed one of the big checks the other day. And, but okay, James, please go forward. Informational item only.
Yeah, informational item only. This is project update number 22. When I started this project, we were hoping we were going to be coming to a close, but that was before all of the supply chain issues. So just a little update on progress. And I have to say, Ranger, they never stop moving. They've always find stuff to do. And I've been really impressed with their demeanor and offering of help anytime we need it and information. So they tested the caustic soda system. That's the extra storage for caustic soda to be able to take larger loads and also to be able to QA the chemical before it's put into the plant. Testing train started the air scour blower. That's part of the air system. So we're getting away from surface wash and using water to wash the filters. We're going to use air to boil the media so that we should be cutting down the backwash water really in half. So we'll be saving quite a bit of water there. New MCC commissioning, installation of the 12-inch and the 20-inch valves in the filter gallery, replacement of a couple of valves and 2 check valves in the backwash pump room. That wasn't in the project. We asked Ranger if they could help us out because we had some problems with some valves in there, and they made time to help us out with some out-of-scope work, and we're very reasonable on their time and material charges on that. Installation of the pipe supports in the existing 24-inch in the filter gallery. Long story short, we found that the end of the 24-inch was kind of cantilevered, so we had to add a support to it before they remove the valve so the whole thing doesn't fall off the wall, so to speak. So they had a HDR sent out a structural engineer to evaluate to put up basically a bracket on the wall, and I'll show you a picture of that. Installation of the conduits, the filters, and the said basin slide gate arrived in May. We waited over 18 months for the slide gate to show up. So we're really happy it's there, but of course we put it in, and the old flange on the existing port where we're going to put the slide gate is a little off kilter, so we got to get a special fitting on the other end to kind of line things up. That's kind of something we didn't really notice until they started putting a level on it and put the fitting in. Not a big deal. It can be fixed. So I'll go to the pictures because they're basically in filter 4 right now, and they're starting to put the under drains in. And then for those at home who can't see where I'm pointing, I'm on the upper left here. That's the slide gate on a pallet after a ride. We were very happy about that. This is it installed. This connects the rapid mix, the rapid mix to the said basin, the new said basin. This is the existing plant. That's the new said basin. This is inside filter 4. This is before the under drains. This is the third picture in the middle top. The under drains have not gone in there. They'll receive the air from these air scour piping here. Essentially, tubes go down to the under drains in there. So this is basically coated before the under drains go in, and they test it and load it with media. The media for this filter is on site. Top right, we are looking at the air scour blower, and this is the off-spec water system, so we can recirculate water throughout the plant if there's an upset. Lower left corner, this is the bracket I was just talking about of the 24 that was a little cantilevered and not supported enough. HDR worked quickly, as well as Ranger, on coming up with ideas to better support that pipe. We might add a couple more just for seismic support of that pipe on top, because you can't really get up there at the plant. It's 20 feet in the air. So once they got up there, Ranger brought these to our attention in a very nice, astute way. Middle bottom, this is the influent piping with our new influent meter. They replaced this section and also a section that goes around. Staff was trying to figure out how we're going to do that. So this was a multitude of projects that we were going to try to do that we really needed to put into this project. So we're really happy that's taken care of. We got a new flow meter recording the flows to the plant. And this is the extra in the backwash room with Ranger replacing some check valves and some manual valves. So that's a nice visual. Brian Loretta's been helping us with these pictures and the construction management. And really next month, it's working on filter 4 and getting that all going. I don't think more to comment on that. They've submitted a time, no cost change order. I think they want to go till the end of June. I haven't had a chance to discuss it with Mary. It's a no cost. They're working hard. They're not stalling, and they're not putting their hand out for extra money. So I'm sure we'll approve that and give them time. And I think they'll get done before June 24th. They're just being safe now that the majority of the parts are on site. If you have any questions, hear your pleasure. And as always, you guys are welcome to come up and see any part of this project. I think there's going to be lots of opportunity to see the filters. We got 3 more to do after this one.
I think, again, it would be more of a comment, I'm sure, by all of us that this is a tremendous investment for the future of CCWD. And thank you for the professionalism and being aware of potential earthquake and safety issues in the building. And I think it is really probably going to be one of the premier treatment plants in the Bay Area, in my opinion, if you've ever visited a couple. But great work. I know it's been kind of lengthy, but I was just talking to someone regarding building farm labor housing for manufactured homes, almost 2 years to get the panels for the units and no electricity, and PG&E won't hook up or anything. And so look at the work you guys done in the last year or so. So thank you so much for that, and always for your report with, we like pictures. So a better understanding, and hopefully someday we'll have a dedication there in the future. Again, a little secondary dedication light. So thank you, James, and staff for all the work to get this future treatment plant state of the art for our community.
You're welcome. Thank you very much.
Yes. Okay, and now we will move on again. The agenda is buried in the paperwork here. Coming somewhere, folks. Oh, here it is in front of me. So the next will be informational reports. Mary, please, item A.
Okay, so included in your board packet is a comment letter that we submitted to the State Water Resources Control Board in support of their efforts to consider a voluntary agreement for the Tuolumne River. And with this, there was a meeting on May 18th, and Kathleen actually provided verbal comments at the meeting as well. So I don't know if Vice President Michelson, if you want to add anything about this, or
no, no, go ahead.
Yeah, part of this was, I think, we did have a lot of BOSCA participation at the meeting. And so
Yeah, I mean, BOSCA, we're not as unified as we once were. Clearly there is enough concern. And the good news is San Francisco is a really active participant, and we have somebody new attending our meetings. So I do feel confident that we have a active ally in SFPUC. And I believe now, even although Dennis Ferrer hasn't been to our meetings in quite a while, I do believe that I think that the structure there now is a little more positive than it has been in history historically. And I think we are getting more support than historically we would have been.
Well, along that line, Mr. Vice Chair, I mean, we can see what the governor and the legislature is pushing for more growth and growth and growth in California, affordable housing. And I'm sure and hopefully they're looking at water resources for the future too, with all the development they want to keep building.
Yeah, and Sacramento's also seeing the unintended consequences of CEQA. Even, you know, the governor himself wants to streamline CEQA, or he wants to cap CEQA at not 9 months for a major infrastructure project, so that CEQA doesn't indefinitely bury things. So have a double-edged sword, and now the governor himself is running into the same legislation that that developers have run into. And these are, I'm sure in the eyes of many, are worthy projects. They still are running into the same environmental scrutiny, which is making it very, very difficult and very expensive.
Okay, thank you. That's why we're looking to the future for water resources. So Mary, low income assistance program, please.
Just, I wanted to bring this program up to you. This is a program that actually has been around for a little while, but the state really hadn't figured out how to administer it. And so we're just
sounds like EDD.
So actually, finally, it's getting streamlined. Because you know what happened is very few action agencies and low income people, ratepayers in California have actually applied for this, and there's like $116 million of funds still available, and they're available through the end of September. So we've actually done that. You know, our customer service has actually done a promotion of the program, and we're showing our low-income customers how they can apply for the program. They don't have to be past due. They can just, you know, contact this, you know, the state agent or the agency that is managing the program and apply for reimbursement of a current bill. So anyway, we've actually with the efforts we've already received, like this past month, we received 7 checks for for low-income customers. So, so we're pushing this. We're sending, you know, giving brochures out at some of the low-income housing around the area. So,
and what's the average?
The average is about $400 a customer, but if they do have past due balances, it can go much higher. It could go up to, you know, they say up to 15,000, but you know, we've had a few reimbursements. Well, we had a couple that were in, you know, like 1,500. So anyway, it's a
great program.
Great job. Yeah. Very good. Thank you. When James, you become the head person at
my exercise.
Podium. Yeah, thank you.
Sure. I'm happy to report that Denniston Water Treatment Plant ran all month in May.
Yeah.
It is currently at 900 gallons per minute.
Yeah.
We're trying to exercise our water rights out there as best we can. And a nice talk with Sean. Hold on a couple more days, we'll get there. It's a lot of work. They're like, wow, we're running through a lot of chemical, but that happens when you make a lot of water. So staff's really putting their focus on that. And there's been lots of shutdowns at Nunes, so for different aspects of the project. So it's really helped be able to ramp up Denniston and take advantage of the water that's out there. We did a ham radio technician class, and 5 of us passed the technician exam. Dustin is really into radios. He even took the general exam, which I tried. I failed. I got 50% on it. It's really very detailed radio information, and I'm really happy that 5 have passed. So we all have ham radios. We're going to join the local ham radio club, and there's a great group of people out here. I don't know if you know the guys that run the ham radio club. They're nice, real nice people, and been very helpful.
And how small and compact are they now?
Got a little.
Yeah. I mean, we'll all of us here. We all remember when they were desktop size. Yeah.
It's smaller than our just regular, construction radios.
Wow.
Yeah, very nice, very nice. So we're going to be testing that a little bit more. Darren Sturdivant and Dustin Johns both participated in the local APWA chapter equipment rodeo in Redwood City. And I forgot that Darren lost last year by 2 seconds to somebody, and he has not forgotten. He beat the guy by 6 minutes this year.
Wow.
First place. And is got a little sponsorship to go down to San Diego and compete. So
wow.
Darren's pleased. It was really challenging. They had they had the skip loader, mini excavator, and the backhoe.
Wow.
And the backhoe, they were picking up basketballs and putting garbage cans at a certain height. And it looked stressful. Darren did great, and
we don't have to give that green credit for his internship.
Yeah, Darren spent a lot of time on equipment. He's really good at it. So we're all very proud of him, and he's happy that he beat the guy that he lost to last year. So again, Pillarcitos and Denniston this last month. The Nunes project, we talk about that. The Hawk Winds database is configured and under final development. Todd's been working on that, and Dustin's also been helping with that. It's again replacing the old kind of homemade access database that Todd developed for us. So it's not as, you know, there's little details that have to be worked out. The mag meter at Half Moon Bay tank up at the tank site is in. Casey did great. Another nice contractor I have a good relationship with. They're pretty much 99% done. They just have to put a ladder in it, and then we just have to wire up this this meter. And that's going to have, so now we're going to have a bidirectional meter at Denniston and a bidirectional meter at Nunes, and we'll know exactly how, within reason, how much water's gone out to the system.
Wow, cool.
So we're going to be able to reconcile what water's gone out to the system and then query the meters to see how close we are to our production versus sales.
This equipment thing, good candidate for the dream machines. No, they used to have cars running around there all the time.
Putting on
hot rods running around. I was just wondering. That's cool. That's going to knock out professional bull riding on CBS on Saturday morning.
Well, I think Darren ought to get a 20-gallon hat for his victory.
Video that and
CCWD.
Got a video that.
He's nice guy or maybe get some sponsors.
Yeah, get a big buckle or
Yeah, I'm just thinking that's really
spray him down some paint every wins.
No idea they did that stuff.
Oh,
very
yeah.
good. It's a really neat event, and Robbie, the guy over it,
sounds like it's a fun side of life, man. Huh?
Yeah,
it's a fun side.
Oh, I see. Okay, well, thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Sorry, back to boring infrastructure. We've been mowing up at Cahill and Crystal Springs. We seal coated the asphalt around the Crystal Springs pump station. I was up there today. It looks great. We did the annual truck radio service. 92, we talked about that. Half Moon Bay tank project. Mary's gotten some traction with the city and getting them open to discuss what we're going to need for a notice of exemption and a coastal development permit exemption.
Nice.
So hopefully we'll be starting that. It's going out to bid in 6-9 months if we can make it happen. So that's a very exciting project, and 90% plans for San Vicente are in, and we're waiting for some feedback from Stetson after we ask lots of questions.
When will we get to see the plan sets on the latter two projects?
Which one?
The Half Moon Bay tank project and the San Vicente.
You can look at the Half Moon Bay tank project plans now. Wow, 100%. It's not a bid set.
Yeah,
it's just that close.
Cool.
So we can share that with you. And San Vicente, I'd probably wait till we get to 100% for that one.
Yeah, so
there's a lot of little missing pieces.
So I'd really appreciate seeing that. I'd be very curious. Yeah.
You want paper or electronic?
I like electronic.
Okay. Yeah, we'll find a way to share that with you.
I'm tired of paper. I got to carry it down.
It's heavy.
Yeah, but I would appreciate that.
Certainly. Yeah, we can do that.
Thanks.
Any other questions?
And that 90% San Vicente will be in the next few months then, you think?
I'm thinking a couple months we should have 100%.
Oh, good.
And then we'll find a couple of their little, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's very valuable for all of us too.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank God for the rains. And Perry, any other comments on this? Thanks, James. I appreciate that very much. And now we'll Kathleen's here.
Kathleen.
Oh, I'm sorry. Welcome, Kathleen.
Where are you? Is it foggy where you live?
No, it's nice and sunny.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm sorry. I apologize for not being able to be there tonight in person. So.
No, never apologize. You're great. Go ahead, please.
She's got dry ice going in her room.
Yeah.
I've got what? Oh, you got the blurry.
Dry ice going in your room.
So this is an update on our water shortage emergency, and this will be the last update. With the board's actions last month, rescinding our water shortage emergency as soon as the state's requirement of water agencies being in a stage 2 drought emergency ended. And that happened on June 5th. So as of June 5th, we are no longer in a water shortage emergency, and it reverts us to normal water supply conditions. And then we revert back to our water waste ordinance, which is ordinance 2008-01, which prohibits the wasteful water use during a normal water supply conditions. So I listed in my staff report some of them that would be in place right now, the prohibitions on water waste. So, obviously to prevent, we want to prevent flooding and runoff into gutters and any kind of hardscape. It's required that you use a positive shutoff valve on your garden hose when washing your vehicles and other hard surfaces. We want to avoid pooling of water due to supersaturation of soils from irrigation. And also we want our decorative fountains to be recirculating. And since it is about time to update this ordinance, there are some new prohibitions that most agencies have adopted for water conservation. And so staff will be looking at updating the ordinance. The state board did extend some water conservation regulations, and the one that most people are talking about right now is the ban on decorative, or also called non-functional, grass or turf in commercial, industrial, and institutional areas. So and it does include common areas for homeowners associations, but it doesn't affect single family residential properties. So we don't really have, luckily on the coast side, that much decorative or non-functional turf. But we will, staff will take a look and see what areas this might apply to. And again, we haven't adopted this locally. It's at the state level. So it's a statewide requirement. There are also some other prohibitions they've kept in place, that are similar to what we have in our water waste ordinance, using a shutoff nozzle on your garden hose, using a recirculation pump on your decorative fountains. They do have one that we don't have in our ordinance, and that's outdoor watering within 48 hours of at least a 1/4 inch of rainfall. So that's one that maybe we'll consider adding to our water waste ordinance. And there is also a prohibition on watering the decorative or non-functional turf on public medians, which we really don't have here in Half Moon Bay. So, and I attached to the staff report a fact sheet that the state board put out on the new statewide water restrictions for all Californians. So if you have any specific questions about HOAs and the definition of decorative or non-functional turf, that's all in the fact sheet that I attached. So any questions?
Very good. Thank you. I think on behalf of the board, Kathleen, you've been absolutely a wonderful staff person during these challenging times the last 2 years with the drought issues and customer issues, and can't thank you enough for getting us to this little extra water coming down the canyons. So thank you, nature, and whoever, gods or whatever that provided it for us. But a lot of damage was done too, but at least thank you for your hard work, Kathleen, and we really appreciate that very much.
You're welcome.
Good. Enjoy your evening.
Thank you.
I like the state report here. That's quite an interesting thing. I think people should have this on their wall because we're still wanting to save water. So thank you for that. So I think we're down to the bottom of the agenda here with requests for future board meetings. I don't hear any requests, but I would like to ask our general manager who is going on a well-deserved break away from the building for a while. And may I ask if it's appropriate, Mary, who would be the contact person if hopefully not needed other than normal situations?
Well, I think you need to look at our teams. Yeah. So between James, Kathleen, and Gina particularly.
Good. Thank you for sharing that. And I think we all realize the value of the building here and all the professionalism we have here. So the main thing is you get away and don't look at your phone and enjoy yourself and eat some gelato or pasta. So I believe that's going on. We have any requests for future board meetings, or am I missing anything, staff?
How about Lake Cuomo? Could we just meet up at Lake Cuomo?
Yeah, I don't think that was in our budget there. We didn't even put a raise in our budget either. All right, Michelson?
No. We could talk about it though, right?
So thank you all for the great work, and staff constantly just does a wonderful job for our customer base on the coastside. And I think with this future growth issues that we're facing, it's going to be a lot of extra work. So thank all of you for that, and keep the water flowing. And thank you. And at this time, we will adjourn the meeting.
We better thank our visiting lawyer here.
Oh, that was coming up next. Yeah. Well, I kind of
did a great job because he's so much wider.
Yeah, I welcome them to America here. Now,
took it easy on you. I don't think Pat's been telling you about us or lying.
Yes. Especially, I don't think we broke any rules. Is that correct?
No, not a one.
But thank you and be safe.
Come to a few special meetings.
Yeah. Well, you know,
Homo meeting.
well, again, with all respect, you're two our legal staff, Patrick. I mean, come on, you're double the lawyer we get with you. Thank you, and of course we'll go ahead and adjourn the meeting at this time. Thank all of you, and we will see you in July.
Okay, it's been real.
Recording stopped.